No rest for the wicked. Man, I am liking this game. I gotta tell ya, I can't even believe that Moon Studios only has 3 games. The 2 Ori games and this one. And they went from like a Metroidvania platforming type of game to this. And I'm telling you, I like the parry in this game. I'm really liking it. Once again, no game can be a 10 out of 10 because it's not Onimusha. That's the golden standard. I'm thinking for this game, because I haven't, there's gear in this game that gives you like health and inflicts damage on enemies when you parry. So I'll like this game even more once I get all of that. But just the plain parry in this game, just the plain old parry. So let's say an enemy attacks you in this game and you parry, right? If you attack him back right away, that uses up quite a bit of stamina. And parrying also uses stamina. But if you use your weapon skill, in my case I do it by pressing R1 and the X button, or the square button if you're playing PlayStation. And this way you can counterattack the enemy and not use that much stamina. But what I've found is that once you parry an enemy, the best way to counterattack is to walk around behind him and do a backstab. And that way you get the most bang for your buck with each parry that you do. Another thing I've found in this game is that if you want to be a parry god, the best build to run is a sword and a shield, or just a one-handed weapon and a shield. Because if your shield absorbs a blow and you don't take damage, that means the attack is parryable. So if you don't know, if you're fighting like a boss or some new enemy, and you don't know if you can parry all of their attacks, just walk up to them holding your shield, and then you'll know. By the type of damage by the way you receive the damage on your shield, you'll know if you can parry the attack or not. Now here, the stamina management is more generous than Neo, because with Neo 2, it's really easy to forget to press the R1 that makes you return your stamina once you attack a bunch of times. Here you just wait. This game you just wait and your stamina regenerates back pretty quickly. The lighter gear you have, the quicker your stamina regenerates. The heavier your gear, the more it takes you to recharge your stamina. So here in the combat, you cannot take on too many enemies at once. That's just a bad idea. I haven't found any weapons yet that where the special attack is like a wide attack. Every special attack it always targets like a single enemy. I do see myself using like the fire hammer. The fire hammer has a special attack where you throw the fire hammer and it flies out like a boomerang and it returns to you. In that attack, I can see hurting multiple enemies, like a large group of enemies. If you line them up, you could hurt a bunch of them. Here, the reason why you can't be parrying non-stop, not until you get gear that gives you stamina on parry. If you just have regular gear, you can't just go to like a group of 5 enemies, stand in the middle. You will parry them. You'll be able to parry them. But by the time you're on your like 5th parry or 6th parry, you'll have run out of stamina, and then you have to accept that you're gonna start taking a bunch of damage because you just wasted all your stamina parrying. Also, you can't just parry and expect like, oh, okay, now I get a free shot at the enemy. If you're surrounded by enemies, you have to be very strategic. You have to narrow them down, line them up, and take them on like one by one. You can't just you're not a one-man army. I mean, you're a strong guy in this game, but you're not a one-man army, and you have to put some thought into how you're gonna approach combat. Overall, though, It's a very functional classic parry. Like they attack, you parry, they like blow back in a stagger. You deflect their weapon, that they're like, I've been parried, and you can attack them. Here, this game, I've noticed that the heavier weapons, are like the way to go in this game. Again, I said if you want to parry, use sword and shield. But like the meta of at least the early game builds in this game, it's like you use the mace. The mace is kind of like a hammer, or you use the double-handed claymore, that big ass sword. And like the game forces you to go in this direction with your combat. Also, if you backstab enemies with the giant claymore, it deals way more damage. So, and previously I said that the best way to counterattack after your parry is to perform a backstab. So, like it's like the game pushes you, like, hey, you use the claymores. There's a bunch of weapons, but you should use the claymore. It's like, okay, game, I'll use the claymores. So again, I haven't gotten any of the more high-level gear that gives you like heat damage on parry, health on parry, all sorts of shit. I can't wait to get it. Let's give this game like a 7 for now. I know I'm being like all wishy-washy and all over the place with the ratings. It's because I regret giving Stranger of Paradise a 6.5. Well, I don't entirely regret it. Maybe it deserves a 7. The problem with Stranger of Paradise is that there's too many classes, and I can't make up my mind. And then you have to like test each class's special attack to see if it staggers enemies or not. It never staggers bosses. And also the inventory, you have to manage your inventory. And then you have to set up each attack for each combo. These aren't bad things. It just makes it so that it takes you longer to like analyze and understand the full depth of the game. So I gave it a 6.5 because in Neo 2, which is made by Team Ninja, the same people who made Stranger of Paradise, you just, you look at the yokai, you look at how he swings his arm, you time your parry, and then you got the parry, and that's it. And all you really have to worry about is managing your stamina and not getting hit. In Stranger of Paradise, if you don't care about how you set up your special attacks, then you can just go and parry like crazy. But then you won't make the most out of your counterattacks. This is the entire, like, the thing about parrying is that if a game doesn't allow you to like automatically counterattack, then you have to be hands-on on how you're gonna deal damage with your counterattack. And Stranger of Paradise, it's kind of like all over the place on like how you're gonna manage your counterattacking. A lot of people use the Berserker build, but again, that's just like a DPS build. Why am I talking about Stranger of Paradise in a No Rest for the Wicked video? Oh right, because I review parries, right? Yeah, so that's basically it. No Rest for the Wicked, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 on the parry rating. Once again, Moon Studios doing a great job with this game. This is an early access game, something I forgot to mention this entire time. And this game's doing really good for like an early access game. One thing, I used to hate the early game in this game because there was like too much searching and walking and shit. But now I've replayed like the starting area, the beginner tutorial area. I've done it now. When you're washed up on the beach, I've done that shit now like 5 times, and now that I've memorized it, I can just, knock the early game out of the park and just be done with it. And I don't know, it's pretty helpful. And now I'm enjoying the game more now that I know what I'm doing and I'm not completely lost. So, No Rest for the Wicked, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 on the parry scale. I'm gonna raise the volume so you can just watch the rest of the combat in this game. So feel free to turn down your volume because it can get a little bit, it can get loud. Thanks for watching.